really liked it, but I think that people went too far with it, and it just kind of got to be weird. And I think that in general now it's not as appealing as it used to be. It started to get corny.
With a sharp edge, she was soon booking guest roles in shows like 30 Rock, Curb Your Enthusiasm, and Girls, but Amy had her sights set on bigger things. Her 2012 comedy special, Mostly Sex Stuff, was what really put her on the map as a major player.
That's what I always like. That was always my viewpoint about it, is that every time that I would listen to one of her jokes, it would be like some crude joke about vaginas or something like that. And I'm thinking to myself, like, I'm a guy, like, I don't think I'm the target audience for this. Like, I don't want to see this. It's just, like, weird.
Basically set the tone for her entire sense of humor going forward. Crude, dark, self-deprecating, and weirdly obsessed with the workings of her own body. Oh my goodness, a female comedian whose entire act revolves around sex and dating. Whatever will they think of next? I mean, personally, watching an out-of-shape 30-something New Yorker spending 2 hours talking about what her vagina looks and smells like sounds about as funny as a cancer diagnosis, but each to their own, I guess. Comedy truly is subjective, and somehow hers was working big time. Amy was soon being positioned as the next big thing, more edgy and daring than her contemporaries. I
don't know why anybody thought this was ever edgy. It was so boring.
Pushed boundaries and make fun of herself, and pretty soon she made the transition from guest star to movie star. 2015's Trainwreck, where she played a drunken, promiscuous party girl that was basically just a toned down version of herself, was well received by critics and went on to make 140 million at the box office against a 35 million budget. By now, Amy was riding high with a string of successful comedy shows, TV appearances, favorable news coverage, and a promising
This sounds like a movie that like is for girls, so I didn't see it.
Film career. What could possibly go wrong? Well, quite a lot as it turned out. The warning signs were there as early as 2011 during the roast of Charlie Sheen, where she made her joke about the recent death of Ryan Dunn in front of his best friend Steve-O, and well, it didn't exactly go down like she hoped.
And I know you must have been thinking it could have been me, and I know we were all thinking, why wasn't it?
Jesus Christ, if even Steve-O doesn't see the funny side, you know you fucked up. But okay, fine, every comedian has an off day, I guess.
It could be weird, but like
her first real mistake was one that many celebrities have fallen victim to over the years. Politics. She'd always been outspoken about her political views, but during the 2016 presidential race, she really kicked...
Let me guess, she liked Hillary Clinton. Let me take a bet. She was a Hillary Clinton fan?
Into high gear. At a show in Tampa, Florida, Amy decided to take a break from talking about her vagina to go on an extended rant about how much she hated the Orange Man and how...
Oh, Donald! Getting... crashing out over Donald. Women, right? What are you gonna do?
Everyone needed to vote for Hillary Clinton instead because she said so, prompting boos from the audience and causing hundreds of people to walk out.
It was just cool to hear one guy who doesn't seem like a psychopath, why he would want to vote for that orange, assaulting, fake college starting.
It's a bold strategy, Cotton. Let's see if it pays off for him.
Fucking hell, man.
I think there's a bunch of other fat, like, upper middle class women that think this is hilarious. I bet, you know, that's really, the thing is that there's a huge audience for that kind of stuff. There's so many of them. I watched those ICE counter protests, and I see a lot of Amy Schumer fans in the audience. Let me just tell you that. So, it's really not that much of a fucking niche opinion. But at the same time, if you want to make movies and you want to sell movies, you're going to have a problem doing it if you have all these opinions. You do. Like, that's why you have somebody like Tom Cruise. What does Tom Cruise believe in besides Scientology? Basically, we don't really know. It's not part of it. It's got nothing. It's just a movie star, right? That's it. And I think that a lot of politicians, like a lot of comics, The problem is that a lot of comics try to emulate someone like Dave Chappelle or someone like George Carlin, for example. And not everybody has to be Dave Chappelle or George Carlin with trying to get their takes on modern society and everyday life. Like, you can be Mitch Hedberg. You can just be funny. You don't have to do anything crazy. You can be Gallagher, okay? You can just smash watermelons. You don't have to have all these like crazy, weird fucking opinions that fit in with everybody else. So yeah, that's what I'm saying.
And I'm not even a comedian, and even I understand how to read a room. Shit like that might have played well in New York or LA, but in a red state like Florida, it went down about as well as
Tampa, Florida? Oh, jeez.
stripper at a funeral. Not only had she waded into the middle of the most divisive election in living memory and alienated half her audience in the process, but the cracks were beginning to show in her comedy armor as well. People were beginning to notice that there wasn't a whole lot of variety in her comedy shows. Every one of them was just her talking about getting blackout drunk, sleeping with lots of guys, going on awkward dates, and how disgusting she found her own body. This is
Crazy how it's like you have this girl is like
A champion has fallen.
she's like the musical Wario version of Taylor Swift.
Travels, adventurers.
It's kind of the same.
so culminated with 2017's Leather special on Netflix, which was an unmitigated disaster, rehashing the same tired material she'd been using for years, horribly delivered with no sense of timing or enthusiasm, and getting brutal reviews from audiences and critics.
A champion has fallen. Six travelers, adventurers.
The complaints and backlash against her were mounting, but weirdly for someone who made a career out of self-deprecating humour, Amy turned out to be surprisingly thin-skinned when it came to criticism directed at her. You might think this would have been a good opportunity to reflect on her creative choices and maybe change course a little, but nope, her ego just wouldn't allow for it. Her standard response was to
See, people didn't like Bill Murray at the beginning of him being on Saturday Night Live. My dad told me that nobody liked him, and then he won him over. And it's like, that's what you have to do. You're not always going to have everybody like you right from the beginning. You got to win people over sometimes. That's the way it is. Never liked her? Ooh.
dismiss her critics as haters, misogynists and right-wing chuds who just couldn't handle her political views, instead of acknowledging that maybe her act was becoming
The alt-right trolls or anyone who reported that viewers aren't happy with my special, it would have been cool if you did a moment of research before posting. The alt-right trolls attack everything I do. Well, you shouldn't have antagonized them. So you attack this is their glorious leader, their tangerine warlord, and you go and take a shot at him, and now you're surprised that they're mad at you. That's it. How do you do that? Here she raided with a party
You
of,
have one
whoa,
task,
geez,
my fist.
9/11
Locate
viewers?
the Queen of the Dead
Wow.
and end her. But the path
I guess it's
will
going
be
down,
fraught
guys.
with peril.
Yeah, welcome to the stream. I
and a
appreciate
little
it. Yeah.
demonic magic, too.
Hi, we're watching a video about how Amy Schumer sucks.
And a
Yeah, hi,
little
thank you, Kirshi,
cynical.
for the raid. This is
Probably
our
the
7th
Russian
streaming
in me.
anniversary. Congratulations, Kirshi. That's great. Yeah, good for good for you. 7 years. It's a long time. Damn. 7. What was I doing 7 years ago? Oh, that's right. Same thing. Same exact fucking thing. Yeah, there it is. And yeah, thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you very much.
and kind of stale and predictable. She was also remarkably tetchy about the body she'd spent so long making fun of. After spending years advocating for more
Chick at any size? More like chunk.
plus-sized women in media, Glamour magazine rewarded her by including her in their Chic at Any Size article, which caused her to get all pissy at the implication she was overweight.
I think there's, what does it say? What does she say? I think there's nothing wrong with being plus size. Beautiful, healthy women. Plus size is considered size 16 in America. Oh, what do you mean plus size is size 16? How much does a woman at an average height weigh on on average, if she wears a size 16, 170 pounds at 5'4"? That's fat. You're fat. I'm sorry, but you're fat. Like, that's the way it is. I mean, I don't know really what you want me to say. You're fat. Like, I mean, damn. It's that simple. The 5'9"? Well, yeah, of course. But I said average height. That's why I said average height. Look at BMI. Oh, yeah, you're right. Okay, yeah, BMI. BMI calculator. Okay. Height 5 feet 4 inches. Weight was it 190? What did it say again? 170.
You have one task, my
170.
fist. Locate the Queen of the Dead and end her. But the path will be fraught with peril.
I have mutant powers and a little demonic magic too.
Oh, damn, bro.
I'm a little
She almost on the
Probably
she
the
almost on
Russian
the
in me.
hogwatch. Uh-oh, BMI's garbage, depends on your body fat percentage. War Phoenix. Are we talking about Eddie Hall? Are we talking about Arnold Schwarzenegger, Ronnie Coleman? No. We're talking about Amy Schumer. Okay? She's not, the only weightlifting she's doing is when she gets up. Shut up. Shut up. We all know that. Everybody knows that.
I mean, no offense, but have you ever looked in a fucking mirror? You've also got to appreciate the irony there. Hey, there's nothing wrong with being plus-sized. In fact, it should be celebrated.
No, it
But
shouldn't
don't
be.
ever call me that. It all just painted.
That's the thing, yeah. Lizzo's so beautiful. She's so attractive. You look like Lizzo. Fuck you. You're getting blocked. I hate you. Yeah. Yeah. You're really trying to play those games, bro. Like, what are they doing?
The impression of a prickly, arrogant, egotistical celebrity who was
Yeah.
far removed from her self-deprecating comedy persona. Worse was soon to come, though, when it was revealed that a lot of
she's
the
on
jokes
Ellen.
from her comedy routines seemed to have been plagiarized from other
really?
comedians like Tammy Pescatelli, Kathleen
What?
Madigan, Wendy Liebman, and
What?
Patrice O'Neill, amongst others. Before you could say talentless hack, YouTube was awash with
Oh my
compilation
God.
videos showing Amy's jokes and comedy skits, and the material they seem to have been inspired by. This is one of
I feel like there are always going to be cases where people, like, a lot of people tell some similar jokes because, I mean, if you're making an observation about something, a lot of people end up saying the same thing. Like, I remember whenever X added videos, and I said, oh, what are they going to call them? X videos? And, like, everybody said this. It's not like you didn't need to steal the joke. It's just obvious. Like, it's an obvious joke. But some of them, and the thing is that it's kind of like what I said before about, like, points on a graph and drawing the line. If you've got a couple of points on the graph, it's like, maybe, maybe not. But if you've got compilations, ooh, that's like Carlos Mencia. Yeah.
the big no-nos in the comedy
struggle
world.
may be as
You never
eternal
steal
as
other
I.
people's stuff, and if you happen to, even by accident, you absolutely have to come clean and apologize. Once again, though, Amy's response was just to deny everything and dismiss her critics as sexists and losers. It hadn't really worked before, and with the mountain of evidence piling up against her, it definitely wasn't working now. Public opinion was shifting rapidly. The magazine articles that used to fawn over her were now openly critical of her career and questioning her declining popularity. All wasn't well on the movie front either.
This is another factor is that she used to be relatively conventionally attractive, and then she gained a bit of weight and she stopped being conventionally attractive. And again, I don't think that, I mean, she's not like hot, but I mean, she's conventionally attractive. Right? She was. Yeah, if she lost 50 pounds, she'd be funny again. Exactly. So it's the opposite. So when women lose weight, they become funny. When men gain weight, they become funny. That's the way it works.
Her next big project, I Feel Pretty, about a fat woman who gets brain damage and is convinced she's
So
nice.
wait a minute. So she's crashing out about people calling her fat, but she plays the role of a main character that's fat. Wow. I don't know. I feel like I gotta lay down after this.
Women attractive, fuck it, just go with it. Was supposed to be a feel-good comeback that played to her self-deprecating humour, but instead provoked a storm of backlash with the unintended implication that women can only feel confident through self-delusion. The movie was absolutely lambasted by critics and audiences alike, and further damaged her comedy credentials. More and more, she was beginning to look out of touch and, well, just not that funny anymore. Then there was the stuff that just made her look like a generally shitty human being, like willingly taking photos with fans on the street only to bitch about it later on social
Wait, what? What?
media to make herself seem like a victim of harassment, or openly bragging about
What?
sleeping with a guy who was so blackout drunk that he didn't even know what was happening to him. Flip the genders for a second there and just imagine how that must look. The cumulative effect of all these high
It's like the average Twitter thread about me.
profile setbacks and negative publicity was a career downturn that makes Brie Larson's look like a controlled landing. She was still bagging the occasional movie role, but usually as a supporting actor in low-budget slop.
Well, the problem is that, so Amy Schumer used to be a relatively attractive woman who was a bit on the thicker side, but a lot of guys would swipe right on her. I think that they would have. I do, and you might disagree, but I think that's a factor. And so a lot of women want to see themselves in an attractive woman. They do. And so if they feel like they can relate to an attractive woman and she's saying things that are relatable, it makes them probably feel good about themselves. But the problem is that then whenever you do get fat and you're in movies, nobody wants to watch an actual fat chick in movies. Yeah, they don't want to see that. I mean, like, that's it. Yeah, like, you look at the difference, and I know this might seem mean, but I do think this is a legitimate thing. I do. Like, if you look at I think she's pretty. I do. I think she's pretty. And this is like one of those things where it's like, where is it? It's like before and after marriage. Really? I'm just being honest, right? And so, like, women want to see themselves in someone that is, I think, likable and, you know, like, attractive, that people want to be. That's it.
Life must prevail.
Is she married? I don't know if she's married or not. I'm just saying that's the way it is.
Seem like a victim of harassment, or openly bragging about sleeping with a guy who was so blackout drunk.
It's like, I know people might not want to hear that, but like a lot of women's popularity has to do with their appearance.
Alas, the champion has fallen.
It's just the way it is. You might not like it, but that's just the way it is.
All hope is not yet
This
lost.
is in media. It's just true in media in general.
Drunk that he didn't even know what was happening to him. Flip the genders for a
He's
second.
married to a chef? That's a good advertisement for that restaurant.
In there, and just imagine how that must look.
You have
The cumulative effect of all these high-profile setbacks and negative publicity was a career downturn that makes Brie Larson's look like a controlled landing. She was still bagging the occasional movie role, but usually as a supporting actor in low-budget slop that nobody cared about. The glory days of Trainwreck were long behind her, and she wasn't a bankable star anymore. She was still making the occasional TV show and comedy special, but the fire and momentum was long gone. The prestige of her public...
Well, and I think also, like, for a while, there was, like, a popular, you know, kind of toxic millennial girl, depreciating humor, I'm such a slut mentality that I think has gone away because a lot of those women are now, like, 35 or 40 now. That's what's happened, right? It's like you're not, you know, 28 or 23 anymore. And so it's not the same thing. Certain streamers? Well, I mean, it is. Like, the thing is, as a guy, so here's the thing, right? As a guy, it's less of a big deal, right? I mean, like, I don't... Age is a barrier. Like, for example, like, it would be hard for a guy that's, like, my age to attract an audience of, you know, guys that are, like, teenagers, right?
Fight harder.
Because, you know, you're gonna want to watch it unless you're doing, like, those, like, that, like, you know, entertainment stuff. But, like... in a general sense, I feel like for women, and it's definitely like that's a huge component to it. It's a huge component, absolutely. But like for men, it's less of a big deal.
Tarnished beyond repair, she'd gone from one of the leading voices in female comedy to a virtual pariah, disliked by audiences and distrusted
Well,
by...
I think also it's because people like this is like a lot of people just don't think that they don't care about women comedians in general. Like there's like this stereotype that women can't be funny, and I don't really think this is true. But obviously, I think that, you know, for a guy, being funny is much more important than it is for being funny as a girl. So you're probably going to have obviously more guys that are going to do that just because that's the way that we're socialized. But in a general sense, I don't really believe that. But I do think it's a factor.
I was made for
Peered
this
and
mission.
discredited by movie studios. Amy Schumer is the perfect example of a celebrity who can dish it out but can't take it. A woman
Zombies.
who founded her
All the
career on
carnage,
pushing
none of
boundaries
the
but
guilt.
couldn't handle it when they started to push back. She was always happy to make jokes about everything and everyone around her, but in the end, the biggest joke of all was on her.
Jeez.
Anyway, that's all I've got for today. Go away now.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not that surprised, honestly. I'm really not.
Joke of all.
Like, I feel like really, she was never really that funny. And the gimmick that she had worked well for a while, but then people lost interest in it, and she wasn't able to reinvent herself in a way that was interesting. She was thin-skinned and stole jokes. I don't think that's really it. Reminds me of streamers that make it too fast. They can't take the criticism. No, I think that a lot of streamers just, like, I feel like a lot of people in general, like, I'm never really surprised whenever people can't take criticism, because it's hard. It really is. Whenever you have people criticizing you, criticizing the way you look, like something you spent your whole life doing, like, you do get defensive about it, and it happens really easily. And I know people might be, you know, like, oh, that wouldn't happen to me. It's easy to say that when it's not happening. But I think, yeah, she's just like a one-trick pony. Like, there's a lot of actors that have kind of transcended this. I think the two great examples are Jonah Hill and Matthew McConaughey. Matthew McConaughey used to be pretty much like exclusively in rom-coms. And then somewhere around like 2008, 2009, he started taking different roles. And he, like, really even his early roles that were like, you know, different outside of that scope were incredible. And before you knew it, he was like, you know, up for an Oscar, I'm pretty sure, with the Dallas Buyers Club. And so, yeah, True Detective, Lincoln Lawyer. Yeah, Lincoln Lawyer, Mud, and I think there was one more. I don't remember the third one. But, and my dad and I used to watch movies every week, and so we watched all of his movies, right? True Detective and Interstellar were his transitions. Yeah. But yeah, Lincoln Lawyer I thought was really fucking good. And best role was Dazed and Confused. I'm not even gonna say what he said. Oh no, that's not getting clipped. Absolutely not. But yeah, that was recorded in Austin. I've been where it was recorded. It's kind of cool to be there. But yeah, anyway, so watch Drinkers Crash and Burn about Amber Heard. I mean, she's just retired, right? I mean, that's about different. But yeah, anyway, I had to go about 2 straight years with no roles to achieve that, though. Yeah, it's hard. It's really hard to do that. And, you know, Jonah Hill lost a lot of weight, and then I think that he really transitioned and he became a really great actor, you know, outside of the, you know, fat equals funny thing. And you compare that with something like, you know, like, I don't know, like, who's that other guy? John Cena, I think his name is. It was in, oh, fuck, Scott Pilgrim and Superbad. I forgot his name. You know, it's like you get typecasted. Yeah, John Cena. No, not Michael Cera. Michael Cera. There you go. Yeah, you get typecasted. And like in Moneyball, he was amazing, right? He was. But you know, at that point, that was like kind of a transitionary role. It was. But yeah. Do you see your new game? No, I have not. You know what my new game is? I have no idea. And yeah, content changes with time. Yeah, it does. It changes with time, and certain things that were funny aren't funny anymore. And I think vice versa. Like for example, like telling edgy jokes, I think definitely goes up and down, right? Like sometimes it's really popular, sometimes nobody likes it. And I think it really just depends on, you know, what the culture is at the time, more than anything else. Why they hate poking? A lot of reasons. A lot of more matters.
Impressive. But can you repeat your success?
Yep. I think they're all real.
Fight harder.
Yep, I can see chat. Yep, chat loves it. They know they're real.
Never before has the voice of tongue here in life. Do not rush the party. Not for the black speech of more dawn may be heard in every corner of the world.
A champion has fallen. Alas, a champion has fallen.
40% who haven't subscribed yet. Not a year goes by without some hack writer from the actual
Oh God! Are you kidding me? This is pretty good.
Academic attacking our beloved Professor John Ronald Reuel Tolkien. And this year is no different from the Telegraph. Students shall not pass unless they accept Lord of the Rings is offensive. University course suggests Tolkien's treatment of evil characters follows a tradition of anti-African antipathy. That's
why is it that the evil characters are being associated with Africans? Like, I feel like that's a bit of a stretch, right? What the hell is that from?
AAA viewing. Generally, academics and activists, and quite frankly, I don't know the difference between the two, so we'll just...
How do you watch the Uruk Hai and the orcs and be like, oh, I know who this reminds me of. They're the ones that are the racists. How do you do that?
Alas, a champion.
You gotta be out of your fucking mind.
People who don't like to have fun and people who are no fun to be around hate Lord of the Rings. And the attacks on Tolkien go back to the times when he was alive. But in recent times, it was made demonstrably worse by Amazon. You know the company that started out selling books? Yeah. When its owner, Jeff Bezos, decided he wanted to make his own Game of Thrones and bought Lord of the Rings, which is funny because right now, Game of Thrones, along with Harry Potter, DC Comics, and core part of Lord of the Rings that Jeff Bezos actually wants is potentially for sale. Anyway, Jeff Bezos is the Rings of Power. You know, the billion-dollar disaster and failure that's basically a vanity project right now gave the activists absolutely...
I'm surprised that they're still making it.
Everything they wanted. Unfortunately, there weren't enough of them to watch, but it did stir the conversation back up again. 5 years ago, I made a video called They Are Coming for Lord of the Rings, and it was a simple warning that the same thing we've seen happen Star Wars, Star Trek, and Doctor Who was going to happen to the Professor's secondary role because the activists
the reason why is because they want to get inside of these pieces of media and then change them and reshape them to make them reinforce the way they see the world. That's the reason why all this media keeps getting changed. And it gets changed in like fundamental ways because these people want it to mean fundamentally different things. That's the reason why.
Have been circling this mythology for a long time, and once they sunk their teeth into it with the help of their Hollywood corporate overlords, if anyone didn't like it, well, they were the problem. Particularly the readers of Tolkien who wanted to see the Professor's work adapted authentically. And in their infinite wisdom, the creators of this show decided to make the fans of Lord of the Rings, The Hobbit, The Silmarillion, and all the works of Professor Tolkien the enemy. Responding to the backlash they absolutely knew they were going to get, Rings of Power producer and Bad Reboot reject Lindsay Weber famously said, "It felt only natural to us that an adaptation of Tolkien's work would reflect what the world actually looks like."
Alas, the champion has fallen.
But it's not the world. See, like, in my opinion, as soon as I hear something like that, I immediately assume that the media is going to be garbage. Because you, at this point, have now put your, like, viewpoints and your, like, social ideology, you have decided to elevate that above the source material. And what I think that really shows is it's a profound lack of disrespect, it's a profound disrespect of the source material. You don't really care about making it authentic. You don't care about doing it the right way. You care about making it in line with what your viewpoints are. You see what I'm saying? So anytime that you see anytime that you see any even slight amount of like something you could consider DEI in something, you should automatically assume that it's going to be garbage. Because a lot of the things like that that are added in for a DEI reason, fundamentally what that tells you is that they don't actually respect the source material enough to adapt it properly. Now, I'm not saying every single thing that's out of DEI is bad, but I think the correlation is pretty fucking strong.
Go back to the book, go back to the book, go back to the book.
Yeah, ignoring the fact that Amazon paid $250 million to get access to a built-in audience that really enjoyed a world meticulously built by J.R.R. Tolkien and what he thought it actually looked like. Showrunners J.D. Payne and Patrick McKay also responded to the backlash, called the fans patently evil. Two dwarf of color.
The fans are patently evil? Well, wait a minute. I don't understand this. So the orcs aren't evil, but the fans are? What the fuck happened? It's insane.
The war is far from over.
Yes, really? I don't even know what to say.
Evil. Two Dwarf of Color actress Sophia Numvetti stating that her role and the Rings of Power are a necessary redress of balance in Tolkien.
Everyone was cast because they were the absolute best person for the role, and to be part of a redress of balance within this world is
I don't think that they understand. Like, nobody that wanted to watch Lord of the Rings actually was a fan of the show wanted to have it recast for racial reasons, for like current day racial reasons. Nobody was asking for this. Nobody wanted this. Nobody needed this. I don't know like where they get this idea that this is something that the people wanted. That nobody wanted this at all. Like, nobody was asking for this. Do you think you have the same opinion if Ryan Gosling was cast as some Nubian king? I don't know. I mean, I think that in general, if you're doing a race swap for a character, you're probably doing it for a reason that doesn't have to do with the quality of the character or the quality of the actor. Like, for example, if you had like a really good actress or a really good actor race swapping a character, I don't really think it's that big of a deal. Like, I think that like for The Witcher, for example, they have Lawrence Fishburne playing Regis, who is like one of the vampires in Witcher 3. And I don't really care about that. That's fine because he's a really good actor. But in terms of like just bringing on random people just to play this role, I think that's the issue.
And the rest is history. By all accounts, the subversive work that is the Rings of Power should have been canceled, but the only reason it's still around is so Jeff Bezos continuing to make it is more embarrassing. And of course, there's all the Access Media articles and academic research from racially stereotyping in the works of Tolkien to a new Lord of the Rings prequel rightly confronts an uncomfortable legacy. How Amazon's The Rings of Power prequel grappled with the deeply ingrained ideas of racial difference and racial determinism in J.R.R. Tolkien's
professional problem happens. That's all they do is they find problems with things, they complain about shit, they get mad about it, and the worst part is that the world is supposed to protect pretend like they care. It's insane.
Infamous deer.
Black people exist.
Okay. Big fans, black people exist. And who can forget this book, published in 2022, Tolkien, Race and Racism, in Middle-earth by Robert Stewart. Well, apparently everybody.
See, this is the problem that these people have, and this is the reason why I think so many people are, like, I think becoming more racist. It's because they wanted to put these viewpoints and these values in every single aspect of life, every single thing. They want to, like, go back and retroactively apply their current worldview to media that was, like, 50 or 100 years old, right? Like, that's the issue. It's like you can't do that, and you can't force everybody to think the way that you want, and then expect there's not going to be a huge pushback.
What about it, considering it only has 3 reviews on Amazon, and it's sitting at a 2.6, and it costs $93.43?
Well, this is what I think is kind of funny about it, is that this entire apparatus of people that are bringing up these topics, it's actually like nobody. Like, nobody actually cares about this stuff at all. It's just artificially astroturfed in order for people to think that this is a problem. But average people don't care about this, and they never did.
But considering it only has 3 reviews on Amazon, and it's sitting at a 2.6, and it costs $93.43, or going back to 2002 from The Guardian, Race and Race. What with the dark skin, broad faces, and dreadlocks, it's a wonder Tolkien didn't give his baddies a natural sense of rhythm, says John Yett, examining Middle-earth suspect racial undertones, where he's
suspect racial undertones, bro. And I think the problem is that a lot of people don't really know how to deal with this. The way that you deal with this is you just tell them to shut the fuck up and you don't care. That's the way you deal with it. And in the moment that you capitulate to these people, because you have to understand that these people are not your target audience. They don't care about your media. They don't care about whether it does well or not. They don't care about whether it's successful. They don't care about whether it's true to form to like what the original text is. The only thing that they care about is that it is, congruent with what their worldview is. And because of that, you should never listen to them. Because they don't actually care about the product. They only care about what the product does for them.
Dates multiple paragraphs down, perhaps I better come out and say it. The Lord of the Rings is racist. So this is nothing new under the 2 lamps, the 2 trees, or the son of Arya. This one takes it a step further because it's an actual course at the University of Nottingham. Wow. And that course comes off as an exploration of the actions of Robin Hood from the perspective of the Sheriff of Nottingham. Once again from the Telegram, and you gotta give him a little credit here on this headline. Unless they accept Lord of the Rings, and that university course suggests Tolkien's treatment of evil characters follows a tradition of anti-African antipathy.
The first thing that I think of whenever I see Sauron is like, an action. I guess Tolkien must be racist.
Safe travels.
A university is teaching students that J.R.R. demonizes people of color in the Lord of the Rings book. A history module called Decolonizing Tolkien and Others taught at the
anytime that I see the word colonize used anywhere, basically, I just automatically assume that the person is retarded. I pretty much instantly assume that. Like, if you're complaining about colonizing, you're decolonizing, you're even, it's like, it's one of those retard words. Now, this is not a 100% fault, right? Sometimes people use the term and it makes sense, but it's very rarely ignorant.
University of Nottingham uses a text that says orcs and other dark-skinned characters of mythology are the victims of ethnic chauvinism.
It sounds like some commie gobbledygook.
Dr. Oneka Nubia, a historian and writer who leads the module, whose name appearances on the BBC, and has put forth the narrative that medieval England had towns and cities as diverse as modern London, which is absurd, argues that Eastern races in the fictional realm of Middle-earth are depicted as evil, while fairer-skinned peoples of the West are shown as virtuous.
When
you're a hammer, every problem looks like a nail.
No time to
This
rest.
is what people like that do.
More undead
Their
warriors
entire
will
career
soon
is built
arrive.
around trying to identify these things and getting upset about them.
Do not make me
It really is
regret
insane. Somebody's trying to
choosing
create
you for this
problems. Well,
mission.
yeah, that's because nobody wants to tell this guy that he's wrong, and so they just let it happen.
Except for all the fair-skinned equals who weren't so virtuous, like dwarves who were not evil but to be famous assholes.
Greedy, they're assholes, they're selfish.
It's like the petty dwarf then who betrayed good, or the dwarves that killed Bingo. Despite what Amazon and their paid chills will say about dwarves, generally they're considered fair yet ruddy. And as far as elves are concerned,
They're more neutral. They're not like just only good.
Then there's Fëanor, whose actions led to the birth of and the Kingsland, which was the first time elves killed other elves. The sons of Fëanor, who killed a lot of elves, or Maeglin, who betrayed Gondolin to Morgoth. Then there's the Men of the West, the way we start maybe with the Numenorians, who were sacrificing humans to Morgoth. The Black Numenorians, and no, they weren't black. And they were, deep in the past, oppressive rulers of realms like Umbar and Harad. Put simply,
I think that a lot of these people are just like really dumb, and the only way that they can understand conflicts is that they look at it through modern lenses, and that's the reason why they have these problems and why they keep seeing these issues, is that they're basically people that, took AP English in 12th grade and learned to try to see everything as a metaphor for something else, and in my opinion, I think it's just such a stupid way of looking at things, number one. Number two, I think it's also something that makes stupid people feel smart. So you have a lot of people out there who are doing it. That's it. They hate everything men love. Or yeah, I guess so, right? Everything somehow has to relate to the real world. Yes, exactly.
Wasn't black and white. There was a lot of moral complexity to Tolkien's work, and not every fair-skinned character was virtuous. And that's just scratching the surface. Now, obviously, I know Tolkien's scholar
Also, Sauron appeared as a fair-skinned character many times as well. Like, anybody that knows anything about the source material knows this is retarded. We all know this is retarded, but again, this is just what happened.
For expert, I'm just a fan, but imagine if a real scholar or even a hardcore lorehead took this clown's course. It'd be hilarious. In reference to decolonizing Tolkien in academia, decolonize usually means re-examining or moving away
from basically anti-white, anti-Western viewpoints, basically, or deconstructing why white people or Western culture is a problem. That's what decolonizing is. 99% of the time.
White, Western,
yeah,
let me get this straight, Doctor. You want to move away.
It's just it's an academic term for racism.
From the white Western viewpoint of Professor John Ronald Reuel Tolkien, an Englishman who wanted to write mythology for England from his English viewpoint, by all means, move away from it. Why would you want to waste your time doing that? Because it's not about re-examining or decolonizing. It's about deconstruction. To state the obvious, because somehow the academics got it in their brains that you can fight discrimination with discrimination. But it doesn't end there. Malauru's Vortex Dr. Onyeka writes that malign peoples include Easterlings, Southerns, and men from Harad. The trilogy also features the dark-skinned orcs, evil creatures that do the bidding of Sauron, known as the Dark Lord. Now, the article says true.
Yeah, they do.
The trilogy, and I certainly hope you're not talking about the Peter Jackson films as much as they are the greatest trilogy ever made. They are not the most accurate adaptation of the Professor's work. So are you just focusing on the Lord of the Rings books, leaving out The Hobbit, The Silmarillion, The Children of Hurin, The Fall of Gondolin, The Lost Tales, etc.? Yes, armies of Easterlings and Harad fought for Sauron, and yes, their complexions matched the regions they lived in because Tolkien accounted for that. You know who also fought for Sauron? The aforementioned fair race of the Numenorians, some of whom became the Nazgul. But as far as orcs are concerned, they're creatures who are humanoid, but not human, with mostly sallow skin, so I don't care what background.
Yeah, they have green and weird ass skin. What do you mean? It's not a fucking, it's not the same thing at all. Tolkien's personal writings show him to be against apartheid and definitely not racist. I mean, again, I think that just the implication of this is ridiculous.
You're from. If you see them as black people, you told on yourself. The orcs / goblins were created by Morgoth / Melkor as a mockery of the elves, who were created along with everything else by the one true god Eru Ilúvatar, who are described by J.R.R. Tolkien in the often cited for multiple reasons Letter to 10, a letter discussing a film treatment to Forrest J. Ackerman. They are or were squat, broad, flat-nosed, sallow-skinned with wide mouths and slant eyes. In fact, degraded and repulsive versions of the two Europeans' least lovely Mongol types. Now, the important bit there before he says Mongols is two Europeans. That is,
the permanently offended people are projecting their own prejudices into materials that don't have anything to do with it. Well, they're also just trying to force their ideology into every form of popular media. It's like, I think a really good example of it is, do you remember like a couple of days ago whenever the Homeland Security account was tweeting out Halo memes about, destroying the flood, and then it said join ICE? Well, that's what I think a lot of conservative people have had to deal with, listening to every single piece of media be a metaphor for why capitalism is bad, why men are stupid, or why Western culture is wrong. And so, like, now you can see how annoying it is. Now you can see why people didn't like it. Reddit did not like that? Yeah, of course. And it's because they're not doing it. Straight up racist? No, it's not racist. What's racist about it?
Acknowledging that was probably the nicest thing. So if anybody has a beef, it's the Asians. But if we're going to be judging things from history and we're going to say Mongol, that will be from Mongolia, said Genghis Khan, which means about 0.5% of the male population of planet Earth could be offended by that remark.
There's a lot of them.
It's a big murderer.
That's a lot of people.
A remark made in 1958. Many will make that the underlying thesis of Tolkien and all of his works being racist. But that is the deliberately disingenuous argument you will get from modern academics, particularly when it comes to Tolkien. Judging a man's perspective from the early to mid-20th century, that was
this year. They tried to tell you things in Dragon Lords and now made them Mexican and new books in their life. There's no way that orcs are Mexican. I'm sorry. I will not believe that until I see it. No. Absolutely not.
On modern day standards and having to dig to find something while completely ignoring all the times that J.R.R. Tolkien said he was against things like racial doctrine and those national socials.
So this is just like him literally saying, I have a hatred of apartheid in my bones, and most of all I detest the segregation or separation of language and literature. I do not care of which of them you think white. Okay, so then he's obviously not a racist. Okay, so then that's the end of it. All right, well, okay, great. Well, that was easy.
But the professor shouldn't be alone because doctors and yet the media also went after C.S. Lewis, Milton, and Shakespeare.
Yeah, you're combining. This is the thing. People that have problems are problems. If you're a hammer, every problem looks like a nail. And this is what it is. This is your job. Your job is to go around and look and find things to complain about and pretend they're racist. That's what you do. That's why you're on TV. That's why people pretend to care about what you're saying. That is your entire existence. So big surprise, you found it with Lord of the Rings too. Because that's all you're supposed to do.
And this is just the latest salvo against the good professor from the disingenuous and evil academics. This reminds me of the worst of the Tolkien Society. Harkening back to their seminar in 2021, coincidentally, a year before The Rings of Power came out, so I'm sure this was totally a coincidence that they had seminars like this. Gondor in Transition, a brief introduction to transgender reality.
Choosing you for this mission.
the Rings. Not sure how they managed to get a 30-minute seminar out of something that wasn't a reality anywhere within the works of a devout Catholic professor. Yes, these are real from the Real Tolkien Society, an educational charity and literary society devoted to the study and promotion of the life and works of the author.
The Tolkien Society is talking about transgenderism in Lord of the Rings? What the fuck is wrong with them?
In 1969.
Oh my god!
Problem of pain, portraying physical disability in the fantasy of J.R.R. Tolkien.
Success.
The Invisible Other, Tolkien's dwarf women, and the feminine lack.
Oh my god!
Do not succumb to the chaos.
Oh god! This is amazing!
Projecting Indian myths, culture, and history onto Tolkien's world. Philosophy, indigeneity, identity, and anti-racism. We're atheists, agnostics, and animists.
We're atheists, agnostics, and animists. Oh my. Comments are turned off. Gentlemen, I haven't said it for a while, so I want to say it again. We have two problems in our culture and our society, and all of our problems stem from two groups of people. The first group of people that cause all of our problems primarily are Karens. Karens cause all of our problems through selective empathy, performative empathy, narcissistic empathy, basically everything that we're actually and also just being fucking delusional and stupid. And there is that. And having a chip on your shoulder because something bad happened in your childhood and now the entire world has to suffer for it. The second group is incels. Incels also cause a lot of problems in our society. They're mass shooters, they go out on rampages, they're violent, and they are also, you could say, created by Karen in a lot of cases. This basically encapsulates, I'd say, at least 90%, probably 95 or 99% of all of the problems in our entire culture are derived from just simply that two groups of people. That's it. And if we stopped listening to those two groups of people, we would be living in a paradise. We'd have flying cars, nothing would be locked up in CVS. You could just simply go inside of a store. You wouldn't need them to check your receipt as you leave. Everything would you leave your car unlocked. We would probably have computers that were faster. Everything would be better. Everything would be better.
Yes. Oh my.
How about we could tell racial jokes and nobody would get mad. We could just keep going on and on and on and on. But you're right about talking out about incel. The problem with the sense is for incel become themselves, incels become themselves, right? It's kind of like a, like what's that fucking paradox where energy becomes matter? I forgot which one that is. But yeah, it's kind of like that, but it's like with incels and sense.
This one, something mighty clear, stabilizing cis-heteronormativity in the words of Tolkien. What? It's might be my favorite. Pardoning Solomon. Here in Tolkien's The Lord of the Rings. For those of you who may or may not know.
What? Pardoning Saruman? Whoa, wait, I was reading chat. Let me listen to Tolkien. What?
It's might be my favorite. Pardoning Solomon. Here in Tolkien's The Lord of the Rings. For those of you who may or may not.
Saruman's gay?
A champion, alas, a champion has
Tolkien comes from a difference in applicability and allegory. The paper is syndrome failure to Monway. That's the Valar that sent what do you call it? Gandalf into Middle-earth. Monway is an archetype of the rightful model leader. In this manner, we are comparing Zango, Bjornsia from African Brazilian region, Uganda. Wait, what?
safe travels, adventurers.
What the fuck are you talking about?
Do not worry. All
Even though
hope
it's not,
is not yet
so
lost.
This doesn't have anything to do with Saruman.
Come on. The queer in Tolkien's The Lord of the Rings. For those of you who may or may not know from the books, Saruman the White later identifies himself as Saruman of many colors, which could be interpreted.
No way. Saruman of many colors. They think it's the rainbow flag. No fuck. Actually, you know what? That's exactly why. For sure, bro. That's so retarded. I know that's the reason. That's super fucking retarded. Absolutely.
Pick your hero.
Oh my god.
Or villain. I'm not
It
judging.
is wearing a rainbow flag.
To be a witch to find the magic in this world. But
And
it
when he
does
reveals
help.
himself, Gandalf's response pretty much sums up everything happening here.
For I am Saruman the Wise, Saruman of many colors.
I like white better.
White. It serves as a beginning. White cloth can be dyed, the white page can be overwritten, and the white light can be broken.
In which case it is no longer white. And he that breaks a thing to find out what it is has left the path of wisdom.
Let's
I've
not
watched
forget back.
entire realities consumed by chaos. I won't let that happen again.
Isn't it crazy whenever you listen to that dialogue and then
30
you compare it
seconds
to the
before you
slop
attack.
that we get
Get
nowadays?
ready.
Here we
Isn't it just like, bro, like,
by side once more. Just
it's just bars, like, exactly.
You mean back when you used children
In
as
February of
weapons in your
2023, The
crusade
Spectator
against
reported that a
mankind?
unit within Prevent, the UK Home Office's counter-extremism program, had drawn up
Then at
several
least we
lists
can
of
find
dangerous
the
books.
battle
It
starts
claimed
in
that the
5,
Dude,
4,
this
3,
is a Karen
2,
organization.
1. All you need to
Like,
do is
y'all,
capture the
what
mission
y'all
area.
do is go
Got it?
in and just take all of these people and then just fire. Just fire every single one of them. They ain't doing nothing. They're not helping anybody. They're not doing anything good. They're just wasting your fucking money being retarded. Just do it. Get them out.
Support for the far right or horror
Attacks
centrist
you so
horrors.
yeah, that's a deep
Brexit.
state.
Among the specific works mentioned were novels by titans of English literature,
Get a
including
summary.
George Orwell,
Gotta go get
Joseph
them.
Conrad,
Yeah.
C.S. Lewis, and J.R.R.
I
Tolkien.
find it, actually, I feel like the biggest self-report here is that the list of dangerous books, George Orwell is on the list of dangerous
We
books.
have prevailed.
Dangerous to who, exactly? Yeah, that's the real self-report. J.R.R. Tolkien is not that much. It's George Orwell that I think is the real self-report.
So I'd like to remind everyone who tries to take down this English legend, prolific author, and all-around good human being that the rest of the world does not agree with you, including you, Dr. Onyeka Nubia. Considering Lord of the Rings has been translated into 57 different languages and has at least 87 translations. It's sold over 150 million copies, making it the third or fourth best-selling book of all time, and if you combine it with The Hobbit, that's 250 million copies.
Wow.
Then there's all the other books and media, and of course the films, the Lord of the Rings trilogy and the Hobbit trilogy, which have a combined worldwide gross of 5.875 million without adjusting for inflation. Based on
I
that,
do feel like Lord of the Rings is probably one of the core, like, in terms of like Western media, it's pretty much one of the main pillars.
Feeling
That's
stronger
it.
already.
It's pretty much the big one. Like, you've got that, you've got, maybe now for a lot of people, younger people, it's Harry Potter also. Maybe, I don't know, a couple of other things, but mainly Lord of the Rings.
alone with Star Wars, it appears that despite what some producers at Amazon and angry academics think, any detractors of the professor and his works are in the minuscule minority. But they're not going to stop. And they
This is the issue that happens is that these people put themselves in positions of power, and then they try to astroturf and manipulate public perception into believing that what they think is actually like a commonly held viewpoint. And so they create this perception of consensus by trying to portray their viewpoints alongside the traditional viewpoints, but the reality is that almost nobody believes this stupid, retarded bullshit. Nobody actually believes this. That's why nobody's buying the books. That's why the shows that have this stuff involved fail. That's why it happens, because the only place where it can succeed is a place where it is completely protected from anything else that could potentially put it at risk. It cannot survive in a free marketplace of ideas.
so, because when we have a course at the University of Nottingham from the professor's home country called Decolonizing Tolkien, again, decolonizing.
I don't have a problem with the course, if you want me to be honest. I think it's fine. If you want to write and do a course about this, it's totally okay. I think, you know, it's, again, freedom of speech, freedom of expression, etc. I think maybe you could, you know, ask some questions about, like, you know, should tax dollars be going towards this, etc. But I think that, you know, people should be able to believe and teach courses and even stupid stuff, right? But this is definitely stupid.
Academia usually means re-examining or moving away from white Western viewpoints. This isn't a historical study or exploration.
It's not moving away from white Western viewpoints because there's nothing that's inherently white or Western about a viewpoint. There's only something that makes sense and doesn't make sense. And by categorizing things like that, what you're doing is you're just basically you're just giving people a justification to be racist. Like, that's it. It's literally that simple.
A re-examination of colonizing culture, because students of the course in Nottingham will also learn to repopulate the canon of British myth and legend.
See, that's the problem, is that they want to change things. Like, I'm fine if you don't like an old story because you think it's racist or something like that. That's fine. But, like, if you don't, if that's the case, make your own.
The obvious, this isn't about adding to something or building something new.
Yes.
It's about destroying something.
I am
Best
no
summed up by the
golden god.
Culture Explorer
I'm simply
on
a
X, and
man
I
who
couldn't have
wishes
said
to
it better
use his
myself.
power for
Forget
good.
education, this is cultural demolition. The goal isn't to re-examine the past, it's to poison it, to strip stories of their meaning until they become
30
something
seconds
you're
before you
ashamed
attack.
to love.
Get ready.
First, they redefine the words. Then they rewrite the history, and
What is it
finally,
that you
they
see
tell
here,
you
Dr.
what
Richards?
you're allowed to believe.
Jesus Christ, yes!
That can unite us all.
This isn't a
and bring
debate
an
about
end to this
orcs.
madness.
It's a war
I
over
see.
who owns your culture.
Beware,
and
my friend.
Exactly.
Blind
Fucking
faith in
exactly.
anything, even
key to
science,
destroying a culture
often
is
leads to catastrophic
problematizing its
consequences.
past.
Yep.
And
Battle
Lord of
starts
the
in
Rings
5,
is just one more
4,
monument to tear
3,
down. And
2,
why do they hate
1.
Tolkien? Well, I don't think I'm breaking
All you
any
need to
news
do is
here.
capture the
It's his
mission area.
conservative
Got it?
values. He was a devout Catholic, a proud
Yeah, he's a conservative. He's a conservative Catholic white man. Yeah, big surprise. They don't like people. You know why? Because they're racist. That's the reason why. It's that simple.
Englishman, an anti-modernist, and he had a deep distrust of large government values that are antithetical to the ideology of the modern activists and academics. And the timelessness and popularity of this story that will outlast them all serves as a constant reminder that nobody likes their ideas and nobody thinks they're any fun. But Tolkien's
And that's what I think is very interesting about it, is that there's so much emphasis placed on placating and pacifying and keeping these people happy, when the reality is that they represent almost no one. Like, nobody likes these people. Very few people even subscribe to these ideas. But for whatever reason, everybody has to listen and pretend like this is some sort of valid.
works and the values they represent is exactly the reason the vast majority of people, including this guy who is neither translated or English yet, against the world. Like, share, and subscribe if you didn't like it. Thank you for listening, and I will see you in the next video.
No, I completely agree with him. I do. I do. I think it's just very simply people that are trying to here's why the left wants the government. Well, I don't know. I mean, like, yeah, I told you, Karen's push it, Sems go along with it. Yeah, I mean, I think Sems is incels also. I mean, I think that also, like, those are two different problems, right? And at a certain point, I'll probably go and talk about that. But there is the video right there. Skip the outro. I think that was the outro, right? And so, yeah, make sure to give it a like. Erotic. I've watched a lot of his videos. And I think that, yes, they do hate Tolkien because of what it represents. And I think they hate it for a number of reasons. They don't like the fact that it's not super racially diverse. They don't like the fact that it talks about, or it doesn't use an overt you know, like sort of like, you know, modern storytelling. I think that in general, a lot of people, and this is something that I've noticed, is that a lot of people have a problem understanding, you know, and like coming to terms with the fact that like certain things are just, you know, naturally good and evil, right? Like people like to have shades of gray in things. because I don't know, I guess maybe it scares them or it's weird to them that maybe certain things are just good and other things are just bad. And I don't really know why that is. I'm not sure why that is. I have to think about it more. But yeah, 50 of them or 50 what? I don't know. But anyway, so yes, and this is the image that somebody sent me. Second illustration that I made for the revised PHB, the species entry for orcs. So whenever somebody said they made orcs Mexicans,
Pulse charge, fire!
oh my fucking god.
Need some repairs?
That is incredible. It's like, this is the kind of stuff, guys. Like, you don't see something like this every day. They literally made orcs Mexicans. Are you kidding me? It's that bad? I know. These people are just... That's not possible. Oh my god. Yes, and Dark Lord. I just retarded. And yeah. It's Omegle, fucking Dawntrail, what? Government because they know they aren't on the populist side? Yeah, they need government to enforce their worldviews because people won't accept them on their own. I mean, some of the... Dude, look at some of this, guys. I mean, this sure is a lot, huh? I don't know about this. That's it, fans-wise. How do you do, fellow orcs? And this is from, oh my god. And then also keep in mind as well, you have right here, let me go back and see right here, that nobody except for those people can reply to them. So this is what I found is very common, is that if you want to find out whether something is like good or bad, or whether things are going to be well received or not, you can just look at this. And if you can't reply to something, the odds are it's because it's bullshit. That's the reason. And I'll scroll down and see if I can find any more of these. I don't like this new design. And this is more people complaining about it. Yeehaw. There's this, yo, oh, is he single? This is insane. I don't know the book, but I know I love them. Oh my god.
Pick your hero. Or villain. I'm not judging.
Today, gentlemen, is a beautiful day, an amazing day, and an incredible day to be an American. Because Taco Bell decided to create, I don't even know why, the Mountain Dew.
I may be powered by chaos, but I'm trying to bring a bit of don't have to be a witch to find a man.
And let me guess, that's a problem.
30 seconds before you attack.
That's
Get
a perfect
ready.
answer. That's what I want to hear.
Balance it.
I agree with them.
What did you think of that? Come from?
You know, obviously in a vacuum, I think that answer is fine. I think it's a response to the question, which was asked, as you say, in a tremendously anti-Semitic way, the idea that Jews are persecutors of Christians is an absurd contention. Obviously, I would have preferred more from the Vice President, but I think the broader problem here is, again, that you have an enormous number of young...
I don't know enough about the actual...
All you need to do is capture the mission area. Got
people who are engaging with true white supremacist, anti-Jew content and are taken in by it, and there do need to be more voices pushing back on that.
Red Spear, we thank you for your voice. Thank you so much.
Has lost at least 20,000 subscribers on YouTube over the past 2 weeks. I read that in his voice. Jesus, that was so weird. Okay, anyway, yeah, so let me go back. I'll take a look at it. Okay, so we have one of our where's his YouTube channel?
We are in this.
So where's a recent video he did pretty well? Bad news for Republicans.
No escaping us now.
Okay, let's see. Is this? Where is it here? I don't know really if that's it. I have no idea. So what are the comments? Okay, so the comments. These are the comments on Ben Shapiro's one of his recent popular videos. Okay. America first is inevitable. I will never vote for a U.S. politician that has accepted $1 single from AIPAC. It's hard to support conservatives that conserve nothing. Epstein, who is also a small factor, a loss of trust. maybe Republicans want to get a chance to stop putting Israel and AIPAC first. The entire Israel issue mess is the real issue. That's why everyone is confused. You then are not helping. New York is already the different city. Republicans lost because they didn't fix the economy. Well, that's actually more true. Better already. We cited that in 2028 shift that mergers back was actually good economics. Yeah, imagine that. I imagine. And again, Trump is wasting his mandate faster than Bush in 2005. Probably also true. I would agree with that. And yeah, I'm Jewish and Republican. I'm tired of us sending money to Israel and Ukraine. My passport is red, white, and blue. If we want to donate to these countries privately, go ahead. We need to fix our stuff first. Tired of seeing America struggle. So let me open up. So is Ben Shapiro actually losing So basically, he was cooking whenever Trump was doing pretty well. Trump wasn't in office. But as soon as Trump went in office, he went from 70,000 subs to 0, 20,000, 0, 10,000, 0, negative 10,000, 0, negative.
By the eye of Agamotto!
You gotta have a sub for this?
Born again!
Seems like an anomaly. Yeah, I'm not sure if I understand this. So he's only getting, let's see here, he's got like maybe 40 million views. I feel better all out. So people are actually rejecting his message.
Even better than my mutant power. Here come our next victim.
Every PlayStation game is the same now. A lot of people linked me this video, and I think it might actually be true.
I'm a huge fan of PlayStation's first-party offerings. They've come to embody the sort of cinematic adventures I've always looked for when sitting down with a controller in my hand. This is feeling like genuine blockbuster events meant to be savoured. But where in the past this brand of glossy storytelling felt like new ground being trodden, I can't help but feel that recently it's become the worldwide road. It's not just that all of PlayStation's major releases are kids that are now trademarked third-person cinematic styling. It's that a stable of developers has become seemingly obsessed with stories that explore the exact same themes, grief and revenge. And I'm starting to get a little
The reason why it happens is because the games are being made by a bunch of boring, obnoxious millennial theater kids that have never gone through any trouble, trial, or tribulation in their life other than whenever their parents found their DeviantArt profile whenever they were 15 and they got sent to therapy. That's it. Oh, and maybe also whenever Amazon ran out of Labubis to order.
A little bit. As a rule, these games are all intricately well made, but I'm starting to miss that era when PlayStation's range felt wider, and things
brings up a really good point here. I think that a lot of PlayStation games are your third-person, over-the-shoulder, narrative, RPG, story, movie slop video games. There are a lot. Been a whole lot of them.
The realization that so many PlayStation games have explored the same grim story themes.
Props to Astrobot, by the way, that broke the mold.
We are in this together. Struck me when playing through Sucker Punch's new HBO tape. While I thoroughly enjoyed it and admire its consistently exciting approach to combat and the genuine sense of discovery it creates for exploration, I couldn't help but feel I'd been told its story before. As Atsu, you're tasked with avenging the death of your parents.
How many fucking samurai movies are there where the beginning of the samurai movie is the bad samurai showing up and killing all the people and then leaving you and laughing at you? It's like, this is Conan the fucking Barbarian, it's Rise of the Ronin. Like, every single fucking one is like this. Like, it is. There's a whole lot of these. Like Kill Bill, yep, there's another one. The Sekiro, yep, there we go. A whole lot of it. It's not about necessarily the framing of the story, it's how it's told.
30 seconds before
Bloodsoaked
you
journey
attack.
across
Get ready.
17th century Japan
Jeez, we're
as
gonna
you
have to
hunt
watch
down
this
each
again.
of the Yotei 6. Not only is this tale unfortunately close to the plot of Assassin's Creed Shadows, which
it is. God.
Can't break an atom.
It's the same thing.
Don't need to.
it also played to completion earlier this year,
Oh,
but it's
wow.
the same combination of fiery revenge
battle
arc
starts in
crossed with
5,
meditations on
4,
what it is to grieve.
3,
Well, it's
2,
even the thing is that it's
1.
even at the beginning of
All you
Assassin's
need
Creed
to do is
Shadows,
capture the mission
a
area.
group
Got it?
of samurai that look
My
different,
cosmic
and
awareness
some of
has
them wearing
drawn me to
masks
this
and look like
dark
idiots.
place.
Cause, you know, like I think her name is Naue. They kill. Oh, yeah, they kill her family too. Well, yeah, it's the exact same thing. Healing power.
Becomes something of a hallmark for PlayStation Studios in recent years.
I'm sorry. I came to this already.
2019's The Last was Part 2 consistent of Trailblazer, with Ellie's dark descent into a rain-filled embodiment of revenge coming as a result of the death of her father figure, Joel. That, of course, was the sequel to the 2013 original that explored how Joel struggled to cope with the death of his own daughter.
Destiny
At the time,
I never
The
played
Last
it.
of Us was seen as fueling a wave of sad dad games, including 2018's God of War. But in hindsight, these were just the building blocks for PlayStation's preoccupation with grief.
Found trouble.
This is another thing that I really fucking hate, but this is like a high school English teacher's idea of deep storytelling, is that comedies are for simpletons and dramas are for smart people. I hate this type of thing, and I find it to be absolutely fucking insufferable. It's almost like it's like the storytelling that they do. Yeah, comedy's based. Yeah, exactly. It's so annoying. How many of you guys had to sit around? How many of you guys took, like, you know, you took the AP English, Honors English, Advanced, or whatever Advanced English there is, and you had to read these bullshit fucking books about, oh, this is a story about a slave that is running away and she dies. Like, I don't want to read. It's so lame, bro. Like, it's always the same fucking shit. It's this, you know, faux sophistication that is just masquerading as if it's complexity. No, it's not. It's just a sad fucking story. I hate this shit. It's obnoxious.
I need healing.
And the thing that I hate the most about it is the pretentiousness of it.
2022's God of War Ragnarok is a story fueled by the loss of mothers and sons and the anger that comes with them. Insomniac's Spider-Man series follows both Peter Parker and Miles Morales as they attempt to overcome supervillain threats, as well as wrestle with their demons and figures.
Never thought about it. My cosmic might returns. We're safe now.
2020's Returnal is a looping sci-fi nightmare born out of the protagonist Celine's familial grief-related trauma. And then there's 2025's other big PlayStation exclusive, Death Stranding 2 on the Beach, which may not technically be a first-party game, but certainly is a verifiable feast of maternal and paternal anguish. Don't get me wrong, I'm a fan of all the games listed above, each singular in its depictions of characters and each offering wildly different gameplay experiences. But when viewed as a whole, it's easy to hear that their stories are all in some shape and shape. Familial grief is at the centre of all of these stories, and while I certainly feel that mature themes have a place in games, it is all starting to feel like I'm getting hit around the head.
That's what it is. And also, why is it that so many of these stories are told about parents and issues with your parents? You know it, I know it, everybody knows it. It's because it is. That's the reason why. See, people think the end of Return of the King is gay. They think it's Frodo and Sam are gay at the end of Lord of the Rings because they don't understand the absolute bliss and euphoria of being able to finally be finished with a world-ending threat that threatens all of civilization and life itself. And why is that? It's because they weren't a trench fucking fighter in the actually not a trench fighter, an officer in the British Army in World War I, like J.R.R. Tolkien was. And that's why when you have somebody who served in World War fucking I, which in my opinion is like in terms of like brutality and just like the absolute, like you had cavalry charging with machine guns. It was just fucking, he was a meat grinder. The stories that come out of a person that goes through that type of experience are going to have a certain type of verisimilitude that a millennial Funko Pop Labubu collecting loser that is a furry just doesn't have access to. That's the truth. That's where we're at.
To this point, the cycle of violence is in very real danger of becoming a loop of diminishing returns.
You gutted my father.
Be defied, Lord Sector.
And you tried to burn me alive.
Of course, it's true that not every PS5 game follows this pattern. Astrobot isn't an exploration of generational trauma in deep space, but you catch my drift. I think that's incidentally what I enjoyed so much about Team Asobi's Ode to PlayStation of old. With its joy and colour
owned to PlayStation.